Hey everyone, Dan here from Your Guitar Academy and welcome back to lesson 2 of this electric blues course. And what we're going to be doing in this lesson is continuing that riff that we worked on last time. Previously we learned the blues scale concept and how to put it in this shape in G, but now we're going to move it through the 12 bar system. So not only will you learn how to move this riff up and down, we'll also start to get an understanding of what a 12 bar is. So loads to go through, pick up the guitar and let's get started. Hey guys, so if you're just tuning in, then do remember that you can head on over to the website to get all of the interactive tab, the fretboard diagrams, and the full write-ups for every single lesson. It looks great on the mobile, on the desktop, however you're viewing it. Head over there and we'll put the links in the description and in this video. Also, please do like and subscribe to this video if you're enjoying it so far and if you're enjoying the course, as well as leave us a comment. We make sure we get back to every single comment that you guys leave. Okay then guys, so let's carry on with this riff that we've been learning. Now we got up to the point where we had this, right? That's our main loop that we're working with. Now, this is a great idea now to move this riff through the 12 bar changes. So this is a very common thing in blues playing, so it's a great thing to introduce you to now. And it's just simply the idea that we instead of just playing like a shuffle or a chord or whatever else you might typically hear in a blues, we replace it with a riff. And if you listen to great players like Muddy Waters, John Lee Hooker, Freddie King, Albert Collins, these kind of guys, they're famous for replacing the chord with the riff, okay? And what we're going to be doing is moving it through the chord changes. So in a 12 bar blues, to cut a long story quite short, and don't worry, we will be going into depth with how the 12 bar is structured. Don't worry about that at all. But for now, just to get you guys going and enjoying something fun, you've got this 1-4-5 concept, okay? And that's simply the idea that you start on the 1 chord, which in G would be a G chord, G minor, G7, okay? And again, we'll talk about that, don't worry about that. Then you'd move to the 4 chord, so 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be C, okay? And then at some point you'd also use the 5 chord, which would be a D. So when I say 1-4-5, I literally mean, based on your major scale, the 1, 4, and 5, okay? And you create chords, so in this instance it might be dominant chords, from each of those notes. And that's when we say it's a 1-4-5 in the key of something, that's an insight as to what that means, but we'll be getting to that later on in the course in great depth so that you can handle that situation if it comes up, okay? Now, for us, all we need to know at this point then, because we'll learn by route, we'll learn by doing in this case, is that we've started our riff on the 1 chord, and we're going to repeat that riff twice, okay? And it actually works out as 4 bars, because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So then on the 5th bar, you're going to move up to C. So you're going to take the whole riff, literally just transpose your pentatonic scale to C. So C minor. C minor pentatonic, C blues with that chromatic note that we've added in, that we talked about last time, okay? And you literally just transpose the riff in the same way you would just move a chord up or a power chord, you just transpose. Okay, so it's exactly the same riff. I'll do it slowly again, just so you can see it nice and clearly, but all you got to do is visualize that pentatonic shape. We now move to C, okay, because that's the 4 chord. So C dominant 7 or C minor potentially. And transpose the whole idea. And then we play 2 bars of that. So that equates to 1 time round that little riff. Then we come back to the G. Okay, and that's how a 12 bar works. We go from the 1 chord to the 4 chord, then back down to the 1 chord. So here we're going to do that riff again. Okay, and there's 2 bars worth there. Okay, so it equates to 1 whole loop, as it were. Okay, so what I just want to do first is just kind of do that essentially, and you just want to think of it like, you know, boom. Boom, 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 boom. I'm keeping going up to C. Boom, 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 dum, dun, 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 do, bow, no, 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 do, boom, bow, no, 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 no. Okay, so there you have it. Hopefully that makes sense. So you're just going from the G chord to the C chord, back to the G chord. Let's just do that with a drum beat at 60 BPM, so a good 20 BPM lower than the full speed of the track. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't forget about those subtleties either. That vibrato, that bend. Same thing rings true on the C. Okay. Now, at that point in our 12-bar format structure, and it is a format, it is something you kind of copy and paste. And again, don't overthink it at this point. We will go through this in great, great detail, okay, as we go through the course. I just want to get you going here with something that's really fun to play, and you kind of learn by doing. A lot of blues players just simply do that. You know, they learn their favorite tracks, and before you know it, the concepts start to repeat. So this is a great way to start learning some blues. Now, at that point, you're going to go up to the 5 chord. So the 5 chord in this instance, G, C, and D. D is the 5 chord, but we're going to stick on the E string, so 10th fret. And we're only on the 5 chord for 1 bar at this point. So we can only do half of that riff. So we're going to do the second half. Okay, just a little bit easier that second half. I think 1 note less, so you've just got more time to think about the change. So we're going to be doing that second half of that riff, okay, but now I'm up in D. D minor pentatonic, D blues. Okay. Then I drop down to the 4 chord, which is C, and I'll do the identical riff. And then I'm going to drop down to the 1 chord again. But let's just do that 5 to 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then when I come back down to the 1 chord again, I'm going to be going through the first half of the riff. Okay, and then, you know, typically you might have like a turnaround and all of these things that we'll talk about later in the course. But for this dirty blues track, we're literally just going to be stopping on that final bar. So this is bar 11, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Because then I'm going to be launching into my solo, okay, which we'll get to starting in the next lesson, okay? So that, by route, is that route, by the way, that's an American thing. Do correct me if I'm wrong here. I should probably say root as I'm from England, the UK, but it just seems to have absorbed into my playing from listening to so many Americans. When you listen to blues players talk about this stuff, you know, most of them are American. They sound cool, right? Route. There we have it. That's the kind of 12-bar sequence that you've now learnt by root, by route. So you've got we're on the first chord for 4 bars. We're on the 4 chord for 2 bars. Back to the root chord for 2 bars. Then we're going to go up to the 5, down to the 4, and down to the 1. Okay, and that gives us our 12-bar sequence. So let's just do that with a drum beat. Okay, 3, 4. 4 chord, C. Oh. D, C, back to G, first half of the riff, 2, 3, and that's where we're going to hit our solo, but we'll talk about that next time. So that's what I want you guys to try and get together. Make sure that you're doing it nice and slowly, okay? Remember that you've got the tab available to you either over on the website, or if you've purchased the course, thank you very much, and you can download it, and you've got the downloadable ebook, okay? So that's your first task. Try and get that sounding really good at around the kind of 60 BPM mark, okay? Something relative, a bit slower than the actual full version. And remember, the focus here is not only that riff and the movement of it, you know, through this 12-bar sequence, but also those more subtle variations. The idea of the vibrato, that bend, you know, and that repeats all the way through. So as well as kind of learning with your fingers, make sure your ears are open, your mind's open, and you're really listening to this as you play through it. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Please do remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. We do our absolute best to answer every single comment. If you've got questions, here is the place to write them so that we can get back to you and really help you out with this stuff. If you want to carry on with this course and you're loving it, then you can find the next lesson right here, and you can start the whole thing. The whole playlist is here on YouTube as well. So click one of those 2 links and I'll see you in the next lesson.